Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf here at Second Swing at Minnetonka, joined by Mr. Kevin Kraft for an iron comparison. Srixon irons have been kind of a big deal the last few years.
Yeah.
Especially the, ZX7, ZX7 Mark II, and now ZXi7. So that 7 is sort of that player's cavity iron. We're going to compare the last two generations of it now. So you've got the ZX7 Mark II with you. I've got the ZXi7 with me. What have you liked from this iron? Why has it been so successful the last few years?
It's for a player cavity. It gets great ball speed. It's got a pretty good blade length. Pretty darn forgiving. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that are surprised when they hit this and go, "Oh, well, that's not so bad. That's not too hard for me to hit." Right? So that player that wants that really clean player's look, but is a little bit afraid of, am I pushing too far? Am I going to have a hard time with this club? This one can kind of take care of that for you.
Yeah.
It's great. I love the look of Srixon. Mm-hmm. So mental when it comes to aesthetics. And when I put this iron down, it just makes me happy.
It just makes you happy.
It just looks really good.
So what Srixon really went after with the ZXi7 is they kind of amplified the forgings. They went for feel improvements, and there's this kind of ridge back here, kind of the iForge technology is kind of what they're calling it in the the PureFrame. So I'm going to be curious about your feedback on feel, especially because they really feel like they've improved the feel of this with this kind of different design back here. So we'll see what that turns into. We'll also, of course, talk about the numbers and all the other details here.
As a special treat, I have not hit that iron yet.
Perfect. So very first impression is what we get
absolutely.
Today.
We're going as close as we can get.
Yeah, with
head and shaft wise. We had a TGI 90, which is stiff plus, and the closest I could get to that was a steel fiber I-95 stiff. They're going to play very similar. That one's going to be smidge heavier at 5 grams, but it'll be a fair head-to-head test.
Yeah, we got it close, not super scientifically exactly the same.
Yes.
We have viewers and commenters that like to nitpick that stuff.
Yeah,
especially if there are a couple times I've made the mistake of not clarifying it ahead of time.
Yeah.
So we're clarifying it ahead of time.
In our perfect world, we'd be able to match shafts, but sometimes manufacturers don't provide us with
matching components.
Matching components,
yes.
Right? From one gen to the next, things change.
Yep.
Is what it is. We deal and move on.
So, all right. So we're starting with ZX7 Mark II.
Yeah.
You know what? I've seen that a few times today. That is the feedback. Oh, look, it's the same thing.
I will catch that one thin.
I was going to ask you about the feel, but we can do that after another shot in which you hit it, not off the heel.
I'll give it a word. Good.
Good? Okay.
Good.
There's some more ball speed. Okay. This is the same golf shot every time. I mean,
that's kind of what you want, though. I want it to be about 7 yards further to the left. So.
Yeah. That one squared up.
That one's got to be better.
Yeah, it looked like just from the way it took off. Yeah. Still not
it's
turning.
Still not really turning, though.
Let's see, how many do we got here? We've got 5. Let's get a couple more up there.
Okay.
You're swinging it pretty consistently right now.
Well, that's good.
How about look-wise? This top line, blade length. How does it? We're talking about a player's cavity category. Where does it rank in there? You think?
I mean, if I've got any complaint at all about this iron, is they could have just maybe rounded off this top line just a tiny bit, just to make it a little bit thinner. The previous gen before this one, the other ZX7, was a little thinner looking on top.
Okay.
And this one looks a
little
more,
bit larger?
This is slightly more pronounced.
Mm-hmm.
And,
okay.
Paying Titleist have done such a good job of rounding off that top line to give it the appearance of a little bit thinner in their game improvement clubs.
I see what you're saying.
But it's not offensive. Like it's not
No,
like
yeah.
there's nothing about this.
mean-
Look down at it and you go, oh, that's chunky.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
It's
again, the
not.
feedback on all of these irons, ZX7, ZX7 Mark II, and ZXi7 so far, has been really good.
Yeah.
And you don't get that with an ugly iron.
No, you don't.
All right. So, we've got a bunch of numbers here. Yeah, that's,
Just
Pretty-
leave them. Just leave them.
I mean, that's a pretty good dispersion right there. So, this is the ZX7 Mark II. I will expand the chart. I mean, I look at the spin consistency already as something that's pretty darn good, but really consistency across the board is really good here. Yeah, the spin is kind of right around the sort of the low 5,000s. You had one dip there below. What else jumps out at you here?
So the spin rate number is interesting because I do find that this, for a players club, has a very fast face.
Yeah.
Right, the ball really does jump, and some of that kind of be, you know, distance-wise, a little bit on the lower spin side.
Yeah.
But fine, right? I mean, look at we're 108 feet in the air, 50.1 landing angle, you know, 170 carry. Those are right. Those are my numbers right there. That's where I, pretty much where I like to live. Yeah, I could throw this iron in like that, no problem.
Yeah, and I think one thing we've been doing too, as we've kind of been, you know, capturing these segments today, is looking at impact location and how different it has been.
Little thin,
you know, and you know, 'cause
overall
we've
on
got
this
you know
one?
we've got some 135, we've got 140s up there, and as we're going about here, you're kind of, you know, there's a couple different spots. Pretty consistently, it's picking up a close.
I've always said I'm all over the place.
I mean,
I am no robot.
I mean, but I mean, again, this is the spin and everything's it's so consistent that you could totally lie and say, yeah, I was hitting the ball so solid with every shot right here, and everybody would believe you. So that part is cool. So ZX7 Mark II set a pretty good bar there.
Yeah.
Let's see what the ZXi7 does.
Okay.
So look-wise, the ZXi7, do you notice anything? Does anything catch your eye? I see you studying something pretty
I like
aggressively.
I like the new badging.
Yeah.
In the back, or the new shaping in the back, contouring in the back. Looking down on it, looks very similar to what that one was.
Okay.
You know, top line's pretty.
Yeah, I don't think
about the
it's
same.
kind of a like, why change it if it's working, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if the whole world didn't, you know, rise up and say, I want a thinner top line,
Right,
then,
yeah.
you know, what are they going to do? Right. So,
Right. Hey, I think I've seen that shot before.
hey, that one turned over. Imagine that.
There it is.
And that one hung out. Good. Is that what we're doing today? We're just hanging out?
Hanging out on the right side.
Oh, boy.
So, 3 swings in with ZXi7. Do you notice a difference in feel at all?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
That's why we got 4 more swings.
Yeah, actually I do. Based on that one.
Which was a miss from the looks of it.
Hmm.
Or did it not feel like that?
That one felt really good.
Did it?
Yeah,
Interesting.
That one
Okay.
felt really good.
Perhaps-
Obviously it wasn't hit that great,
Yeah.
but
Huh. Okay.
it felt really good. And it
You've
drew.
hit a lot of shots with this club that have carrying 166 yards.
Well, that's a good thing. Ah! A little behind that one.
I mean, the carry number kind of survived at 167.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see where we are.
I think we got 2 to pitch
Numbers
from
here.
there.
Look at that. So, okay. So we've got our numbers here. That is disgusting. Those.
Oh.
So, and I think, you know, I feel like you hit the ZXi7 probably worse, had put worse swings on it.
Probably, yes.
Again, this is carry dispersion too. This is not total.
Yeah.
And I thought I saw a lot of 166. Look at this, 167, 66, 66, 67, 66, 67,
0.5 as a variance in terms of
gross.
That's wild. That is absolutely wild.
And just for fun, right? We've been doing this all day. There. Yeah, maybe you weren't hitting it as bad as you thought you were. There's that last one you knew was bad, and so the spin consistency is different, right? There's certainly a little bit of a variance there.
Yeah.
But man, that is.
But even at 372, that's not like. It's
no,
not bad.
It's
by any stretch.
Yeah, it's just comparing to how good the Mark II was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't stop looking at this dispersion right here.
If we could just move it there.
Yeah, move it a slight bit over here.
Just that,
but
just that little tiny thing.
I mean, there's got to be something to people watching this going, well, you know, there's a certain reliability that this probably, you know, portrays or presents for somebody that's looking for a new set of irons. And both of them are awesome, right? Like,
and what we saw was that I did hit it a good bit over the face, you know, and got a lot of forgiveness out of it, right?
Because again, from watching from here, I was like, this is like, you know, you had a couple that were, you know, you thought you hit it maybe a little fat, and you hit one thin at the end there, but then I was watching the carry number be basically the same every time. I mean, literally 166 or 167 was the number.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, and in terms of other numbers here that we can look at, I mean, again, the average spin's slightly higher. You mentioned, I mean, it's still kind of that. I think it still falls in the category of maybe lower spinning for that type of iron.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we can see the smash factor where you actually swung faster, but it was a little less efficient.
Yep.
And but the result was, I mean, it's so consistent. Right?
Height was a little higher, landing angle was a little steeper, spin was a little better. Honestly, control dynamics got better.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And it's a very forgiving iron, as we talked about too.
It really is. This thing looks great, feels good. I mean, there's less of a sound component with a club like this versus
the forged iron.
Yeah, but sounds good. Feels awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels exactly like you would think a forged club would feel.
Yeah, I mean, that dispersion is incredible. That might be the best, like the smallest oval of a 7-shot sample that we've done in testing.
I've had a pretty good dispersion type day today.
You have,
which is nice.
Yeah, which is good. So the viewers watching this, which don't know the context of that, but as the videos are being published on our YouTube channel, they're going to see exactly what you're talking about in all the head-to-head comparisons that we've done today. So this is fantastic. I mean, this is exactly why these irons have been so good, and the fitters have provided such great feedback in the fittings for these two irons. If you are maybe a low to mid handicap player looking for a pretty solid, really good feeling iron that looks great and performs really well, has some forgiveness to it, ZX7, ZXi7.
Even if you are a little bit on the, in the higher mid higher handicap range, and you're somebody that wants that look, right? Maybe combo ZX5, ZX7,
which they're built to do
blended
that.
sets are so great for, all right, things get a little dicey. We get to 6 and 5 iron, right? Well, let's start where you really are comfortable in the, slightly more player oriented, and then we can blend in, with a little more forgiving in the longer clubs.
Right.
It's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's exactly what, and they're built. They look so similar. The 5 and the 7 with both series, the Mark II series or the ZXi series.
And it takes minimal adjustment to be able to make that blending work, because they are different lofts.
Yes,
but it's not
a slight bend here.
Yeah, we're not talking 4 degrees difference in these clubs, so you can blend them nicely.
Yeah. Well, I will leave the viewers one last time with that look at that dispersion. That's really good. That's not exactly saying that your dispersion will be that good, but it probably will get better. So
nor necessarily will mine through time. Who knows? But,
yeah, that's true.
For today's purposes, I was actually pretty good.
Yeah. So Srixon irons, go get fit today. ZXi7, of course, is the new one for 2025, but maybe trying to save a couple bucks. ZX7 Mark II, we've got a selection of those sets as well. So go get with a fitter, get dialed in, and you'll be hitting more greens in regulation, I would say, and then ultimately play better golf. So
yes, that's what it's all about.
Kevin, thank you for joining and hitting some great golf shots today.
Certainly, fun.